Warning, this video will contain some spoilers for Brand New Day, so in case you haven't watched the movie and you don't want it spoiled who Sadie Sink is playing, you can move on from this video. One big problem after Brand New Day, I've already noticed before but I want to talk about now, is the fact that Hollywood is obsessed right now with justifying their villains, trying to make all their villains like, oh, they're just misunderstood and they're somewhat a good guy. Let's start right with the newest one of Brand New Day. Jean Grey, she kills people. She takes over people's bodies. She forces MJ to kiss Peter, which is just not okay, and then causes MJ to jump off the building, the killer, and oh, but Peter saved her. That doesn't change the fact that she did force her off the building to kill MJ. Like, she is not a good person in this movie. But at the end of the movie, Peter's just like, oh, but she's misunderstood and we were wrong. She's actually a good person. Like, no, it's not saying that the DOGC were the good guys or anything. No, they were bad guys too. But they kind of destroyed Jean Grey's character by what they did there, by making it so she's unredeemably bad. And really, I personally feel like there's still a way you can go back from there where, like, okay, just flat out just say, next time you see Jean Grey, like, yeah, you did some terrible stuff. You were the bad guy there. You were just flat out a bad person then. But then she meets Professor X and she turns her life around. But the problem is, instead of doing that, instead of just leaving it as, yeah, like, Peter saw the good in her, but she still did bad. She still deserves to be put in prison for killing people. She literally caused a man to jump in front of a car. She could have killed hundreds of people. Like, that's not okay. That doesn't mean that she's unredeemable. It just means that you have to first acknowledge that she did bad. And you see that also with Wanda. In WandaVision, she took over Westview. In that case, she didn't realize what she had done until when she realized what she had done and did not let them all go immediately. That's where it was like, okay, a little bit more of a problem. But even then, it was still a little bit complicated because she had a family. And she first started trying to take it down, but then she saw that her family would disappear the moment she did that, so she had to stop. So the big problem with WandaVision was actually just the fact of that one line of,
they'll never know what you sacrificed for them.
Huh? That's trying to claim that she did something good. No, what she did is she just gave up that selfishness. I'm going to give up this fake family in order to let these people live. Instead, it ended the show with this idea of like, she was the good guy. No, she was not a hero in the end. She was simply just able to give up that life. That's all she did. She didn't redeem herself. You see this time and time again. It's a big problem with phases 4 through 6 of the MCU especially, was just like constant moments like this. You do have it in other universes too, where it's just, when these people do these terrible things, these awful things, they suddenly get treated like none of what they did were wrong, simply because they had a problem with them, and that's why they did it. You can justify the reason, but they still did it. Versus you have people like John Walker who kills a terrorist, and then it's treated like this is the most horrifying thing ever. That person was a terrorist who was killing people. He did it in anger. He didn't do it for the right reason. But that doesn't change the fact that, like, with these other people, they were harming innocent people. With him, he was harming a terrorist man who had killed his best friend. Again, not the best reason to do that, something like that. And the guy had surrendered when he did it. There's definitely some problems. He did do wrong. But everyone's treating him like he's the worst thing in the world for what the little thing he did, versus these other people who did much worse things. And they're treated like, oh, they'll never understand what you sacrifice. Really what it comes down to is people naturally, if you make your villains, and sometimes you want to make your villains a little bit more sympathetic. And because of that, people are naturally going to want to justify their reasons more. The difference is the studio themselves, the people who wrote and directed this movie, they are not the ones to do that. The whole concept of was Thanos in the right? It was a super fun concept until in Hawkeye, they made it so Marvel was saying you could have been right. And you had Hawkeye and Avenger being like, maybe. It's like, what? That's where it becomes a problem, because then the whole idea of was Thanos in the right became no longer something that was just a fun little fan theory. It became something that is canon to the MCU that maybe he was right. And it's like, why are you doing that? That's really the problem, is you can allow your fans, make it so Wanda, the studio, the writers don't say that Wanda was redeemed. They keep to this idea of she was the villain of the story, but she did let these people go. And allow the fans to come back with, was Wanda the good guy in the end? That's up to the fans to come up to that conclusion. You don't tell them which way you go. You allow the fans to tell that story. With Jean Grey, you don't have Spider-Man say, oh yeah, she was redeemed. Even that, I personally feel like that somewhat can be justified in the way of just having it so he says, I see something in her that other people are not seeing. That she has the ability to turn good. That is a Spider-Man thing to do. That works. But having it so it's just flat out being like, yeah, she was a good person in the end and she was just misunderstood. They should have ended the movie with this idea of where everyone outside of Spider-Man is like, oh, what are you talking about? She was not, like, we did not misjudge her. she was a villain. Spider-Man just has this weird feeling that she has the ability to be good now. And no one like really trusts his opinion when it comes to that. So then when Professor X comes in and he's able to see it too, he's like, okay, yeah, I believe you have the ability to do good. There's a reason why prison exists. Prison is not a place you just go because you're bad. It's also that too. Prison, a correctional center. It's made to, okay, let's correct the issue you have. That's what prisons are meant to do. That's not what they actually do. I'm not going to get too much into that, but like that's what they're meant to do. Jean should have been able to have to pay for consequences and then have it so then Professor X comes in, he's able to be like, I see the good in you. I'm going to take her off your hands. We're going to put her in a place where I can help her turn her life around. But she was a villain. I feel like they probably should have toned her down some of her villainy in this movie. And honestly, I don't feel like she was a good option to be the main villain of this movie in the first place. I can review that movie in a different video, but that's where they could go with her character, and they can still somewhat go with it. Let's quickly use an example of a movie that actually has what I'm talking about, with a good example of a character who is a bad guy, flat out the bad guy, but has the ability to be like, okay, let's see the nuance in this character, and that is Bear from Obsession. A lot of people hate on Bear 100%, and he deserves it. I'm just saying. For those who watch the movie, they know what Bear did. He's not a good guy. All those people who are saying that Bear is completely just an awful person, 100% and there's no good in him, and acting like they would never do the same thing, forget the fact that we've all had crushes before, and the truth is, if you have a crush on someone, you might do something at the beginning of what he did, not by the end. If you had any form of respect for any other human being, you would never do what he did by the end of the movie. But at the beginning, just wishing that someone would love him, everyone acts like they wouldn't do that. We all would do it. His character is Nuance, and the actor who plays for him and the director both have said his character is a nuanced character, his character is the villain, and so people can try their best to try to justify why he did this. But the writer's not coming in there and saying, at the end of the movie, just instead of having him get killed, in the end of the movie, they're just being like, you wanted love, and that's really what it comes down to. And you're the good guy. And imagine if they just ended that movie like that. No one would be happy about that. Everyone would be furious if they did that. But Jean Grey, killing people, assaulting people, that's perfectly fine. Forcing MJ to kiss Peter, yeah, perfectly fine. But what Bear did, 100% wrong. Like, again, what he did was 100% wrong, but what Jean did too, 100% wrong too. I do feel like I need to quickly address what a lot of people are pointing out, and it is kind of true, but I don't want to go into this too much because, yeah, maybe Hollywood is doing this, but I'm going to give Hollywood the benefit of the doubt and just say that they're not doing this and they're not sexist, but most likely they are just being sexist with this, but rightfully pointing out the fact of all of these characters that they are doing this with are women. It's constantly, this man does something, John Walker kills a terrorist, horrible person, Jean kills people, assaults people, forces MJ without consent to make out with Peter. That's perfectly fine. Because why? Because, oh, she's just misunderstood. She just wanted to be with her sister. Wanda holds a whole town hostage.
Could have been thousands more if she hadn't put up her own quarantine.
She just was in grief. The leader of the terrorist group in Falcon and the Winter Soldier. Oh, but she was in the right, and they're not actually terrorists.
You have to stop calling them terrorists.
Like, she literally killed innocent people. But no, she was in the right. Like, just constant moment after moment. There are two reasons why I brought up the Thanos thing. One was from the standpoint of, it's a perfect example of, at first, the MCU did not flat out say that he was in the right. They just allowed him to be a interesting villain with understandable reasons why he did it. But then they turned around and chose to then write in later that maybe he was right. So they destroyed that. The other reason why I bring him up is because he's a man, and I wanted to point out that to those people who think it's only women who ever had this. Well, no, this happened to a man. They did this in a Marvel movie with men, so they can do it with men too. It doesn't only have to be women, but it is weird that it does tend to always be like this idea that women can never do wrong, and they can kill people, they can assault people, they can do whatever they want. As long as it's a woman, it's fine. That's unfair to women. That's sexist to women. Hollywood needs to stop that. Anyways, but tell me your thoughts below about this. That's really the only problem I have outside of just some other storyline elements that I have with Brand New Day. Oh, again, I can review that movie if you guys want sometime. But yeah, it's why Marvel? Why did you destroy Jean Grey? She's such a cool character that we haven't really got a good adaptation of. We could have got a good adaptation. Sadie Sink is I'm a big fan of Stranger Things. I'm so happy about the fact that I'm gonna buy it sometime. How they released the whole set, the whole DVD set. I'm gonna buy the whole Blu-ray set. It's gonna be awesome. But yeah, I love Stranger Things. Sadie Sink does a great job in that series. So that actress, I'm very happy to have her in the MCU. They could have done a better job with the character, and they didn't do that, and it really disappoints me because we'll see what they do. Maybe they can still redeem her. I personally feel like if you get the right people behind it, you can still find a way to redeem that character. But the problem is you have to admit that she needs to be demon instead of just saying, oh, she was misunderstood. No, she was a villain. She was flat out just a terrible person, but she has the ability to change. She still has the ability to change, just like Loki did and just like everyone else. So yay to that. With that being said, tell me your thoughts below. This has been the Movie Night Reviewer, Peter Wary, signing off.